Oh, yes.
Hi!
Hello, you beautiful, lovely woman. Look at you. You look like you just are ready to go out on the town and do something special.
I'm ready to
And you just,
you. What are you talking about?
yeah, I'm in a sweatshirt. You're looking all fantastic.
Well, I mean, it's not every day you do an Insta Live with Superman. So,
You're filming something right now.
I am. I was wrapping up a little thing that I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more of here, but I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. I can tell you, but not on Insta
Fair enough.
Live.
We'll just pretend no one's here. Just talk to me.
I heard
It's just you and
you have to come to Egypt with me. I'm doing retreats. I lead retreats there now. I've done 2 this
I. Are you
year.
kidding me?
I'm serious. Collaborating with an amazing company called Unknown Egypt Travel, and they curate this unbelievable pilgrimage, like 12, 14 days. We go all through. I just did Alexandria, Marsa Matra, Cairo, Luxor, Aswan. I just got back like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So come with me if you go to Egypt.
Girl, you better believe it. And everybody here can witness that she said that. So I'm going.
Yes.
Done.
Save this so I have proof.
Done. Absolutely. Yeah, it's been on my list of places to visit. It's number 2. Well, it's not number 1 on my list. Number 1 on my list is Japan,
Oh,
because I'm part Japanese and I've never been there.
oh
So
yes. Okay. Well,
I need to get there.
my yoga teacher is going to be teaching yoga. She did her entire Reiki training in Japan, and she's going back after like a decade of not being there. So I might be coming to visit. So maybe our paths will cross in Japan.
I would like that. That would be outstanding. But we're supposed to talk about condition of return here, aren't we?
Yes, our little movie. I had to look as pretty as possible because I'm like, I look so ugly in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm so ugly.
They did everything they could to make you look ugly, but I didn't see that. I didn't see the ugliness at all. So, but you do a heck of a job in the film, and you're a very disturbed individual. Yet somehow you still talk me into turning to the dark side, so to speak. But I've only seen bits. I haven't seen the whole movie through yet. I haven't had a chance to. So every time we have a screening, every time something goes on, I haven't had a chance to watch the whole thing, and I'm kind of dying to.
Well, maybe they can do a proper screening in LA. Are you back in LA yet? I know you're in Spain. You're still
I
off.
moved. I live in Las Vegas now.
You're in Vegas.
Yeah, I moved here 6 months ago, and but I've been gone for 4 of those 6 months. But I'm coming to you right now from Henderson, Nevada. It's gorgeous. I adore it.
I know how gorgeous it is. I'm gonna be there in a few weeks because my sister lives in Lake Las Vegas with my little nephew.
Hello?
I'm gonna call.
Hi, AnnaLynne. Yes, of course. Come on. Let's go have dinner.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Well, so wait, you're in Henderson. Are you in Lake Las Vegas?
No.
Or are you like?
No, in Henderson, over closer to like Anthem.
Okay. I love it. I mean, now that this project is probably going to bring me back to LA after I move back east, which you know. But I fly there all the time to see my little nephew and my sister and her husband. But once again, talking about them. Okay, so screening at your house in Henderson with the family.
Yes. Done.
Myself over.
Done. Perfect. And because the cost of living is different here, this house that I'm in now, yeah. This house is lovely. It's more than twice the size of my old house, and I have an actual theater, so we can screen the film here.
Proper screening at your
house. Screening.
Well, I'm so happy I invited myself.
So am I. So am I. Because I do want to see it badly. I mean, obviously, I saw a lot of I've seen all the previews and all the things, and I obviously saw you working opposite you. You were disturbed in that one, girl.
I know. You know, I mean, we laugh and everything, but working with you was so amazing, Dean, and holding the space that you held and the energy and your presence outside of being obviously the years and years of your professionalism, but you're just such a wonderful, kind human, a wonderful man. And from doing roles like that, where you have to go so dark and so deep into the mental crisis that young woman was going through, to be able to have an actor across from you who's just you were so wonderfully supportive, and I can't thank you enough, because that, you know, you've been on sets. It can go one way or an entirely different trajectory. So I'm
Yeah.
so grateful it was you.
No, I'm just not that smart, so I just come in really dumb for the day and just react to whatever you're doing. It's a lovely place to be able to get to. Just flush everything out and come in blank and just watch.
Well, I was trained in Meisner, so method train. So that's literally, you're supposed to clear the screen and just react. So that's perfect method acting. So wonderful.
But for those of you who don't know what the film is about, it is about a woman who commits just an absolutely atrocious act at the beginning of the movie, and as it unravels, you start to find out why she was doing what she was doing, and you can decide whether or not you think she was justified in doing so. But it's got a nice couple twists to it and everything. I don't know how much I can give away.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we.
Not stupid, went to Yale. I love your people. They're like, listen.
I went to Princeton, not Yale. The Princeton Tiger helmet. Yale
Princeton
just won the Ivy League, so I'm mad at Yale right now.
Oh, bye Yale. Whatever. No, I think what they are talking about, because I've been very vocal about the issue of the mass shooting. So the character goes into a church with an AR-15 and literally has our worst nightmare in this country specifically. And it was interesting because I didn't want to do the film. I was like, I read the scene one and I was like, well, we're good. Moving on to the next. Thank you very much. And then AnnaLynne doesn't do fear. AnnaLynne's like, why is AnnaLynne afraid? AnnaLynne doesn't do fear in this household. And so I didn't want to glorify this issue, but you and I talked on set. I'm a girl from Georgia. I'm a gun owner. I also didn't want the pendulum swing of, you know, kind of this self-righteousness that's like, see, you know, this is why no one should have weapons. And because I don't agree with that either. And that is actually the reason that I did the film personally, was because this pendulum swing is the problem. Where is the center line? Where is the center line? And I loved talking to you about your law enforcement work and all of the different ways that you're Superman in real life, outside of, you know, obviously why we all love you. But you were showing me videos of you training gun safety and all this, and I was researching and doing a lot of research because I knew I was gonna have to talk about this, and I knew it was gonna be controversial, and I was like, I gotta have shit to say that sounds smart. What I'm talking about. And we used to have gun ranges at schools in the 60s.
Rifle teams, sharpshooting teams,
we were
everything.
Children on gun safety, on the proper use of weapons. Where were all of the mass shootings at schools at that time? That wasn't happening. So it's clearly not that conversation of it's the gun. It just doesn't, the rule gets broken over and over again. There's so much more going on. So so I continued the research, and what I found was the Institute of Justice project. They did a research, they funded a research program for the DOJ. And the DOJ did a deep dive into 172 mass shootings. And 100% of the shooters in 100% of the shootings were in a state of mental crisis at the time of the shooting. And this is the conversation that our lovely pendulum swing conversationists don't want to talk about, because the problem is more beneficial to the solution to politicians who just want to get on a soapbox and don't actually want to enact change. And the conversation is mental health. It's the only conversation there is. It was important to me to do this, and I got to do it with you, someone who was so supportive of my mental well-being during the film. But we didn't really talk about why you took the film. We talked about, you know, being a part of it and what it was like. But what was, I mean, outside of obviously wanting to.
Oh, that's it. It's just you. I mean, you already answered that question. Done. No, right there.
That can't be the answer if I said it like that.
Pretty simple. I'm a simple person, like I said. I mean, I agree completely with everything you said, 100%. You know, kids used to ride to high school with a shotgun on the back of their pickup in the back rack and things like that. And there are such a huge number of weapons here in the United States, but most of them aren't. 99.99% of them are not committing these violent acts and doing these awful things. There is a huge mental health issue that needs to be dealt with in this country. And like my son he's 23 years old, but he's known how to shoot and understood safety with weapons forever because I train with him and I drill him, and we go through that. And everybody in my family understands that. We have a bunch of hunters in the family, and it's always been part of our life. A bunch of military in the family, and myself being a law enforcement officer. These are things we do train all the time, but it does come down to mental health. And look, we all know somebody we've all, probably half of us have been in some sort of a mental health crisis. And you know when that's happening, and you know when things are rough. I've had a number of friends of mine commit suicide, and a number of them have hung themselves. We're not outlawing belts, and a number of them have shot themselves, which is awful too. If somebody's going to do something like that, they're going to find a way to do it. If they want to hurt people, they can use a vehicle, they can use a lot of different things. And it's awful when people get to that place, but it is mental health, and it's a big problem in this country, and we need to be focusing on that more than we do by a long shot. It's not the guns. It is, a lot of it is the drugs we're pouring into people. Yeah. I mean, how many of these people, I'd love to see that DOJ study that you cited and see how many of them were on antidepressants, how many of them were on these mind altering drugs. That stuff it's a scary, scary thing. And I've seen friends of mine go on those medications and watch them turn into somebody who you look into their eyes and you realize that person you knew and loved or liked or were friends with, it wasn't there.
Yeah. No, it's true. I was misdiagnosed as bipolar 2, as hypomania. I was put on medication for bipolar. I had to come off of it because it was my trauma, which, I'm very open, and I talk to you about what's happened to me, but I'm very open about my mental health journey because of how many people are going through things silently alone. But I was misdiagnosed so many times. I was put on psychiatric medications that certainly, at some of them have absolutely, at the period that I was taking them, I will say at one point there was a helpful moment, but then I was put on stuff for a disorder that I didn't have. And then I was prescribed something that literally, it was an antipsychotic, Dean. And it felt like someone had opened my skull and poured antifreeze through my brain. It was, if I wasn't in fact having an episode at the time, it would have induced psychosis because I felt insane. The feeling was horrific. It was like dripping through my brain, freezing cold, hot. Like, it was the most excruciating 8 hours of my life through the night. I couldn't, it was Seroquel. Yeah, that's the one, Lisa. Thank you. Wow. It was horrific. And I know that I know there are people that certain things help, but my personal experience, it's not been a pretty, and it ain't been fun, but I have gone through, you got to feel it to heal it. It's what my doctor says. The only way past it is through it. If you are being prescribed a medication and you think that that's just the way out, that's not it. And that's what we're selling. We're selling that, oh, well, you have this, take this. In Eastern medicine, and your heritage will tell you, Eastern medicine says, oh, there's pain in the body. What's the message? We're numbing everything out all the time. And of course, we're having to up the ante. And what leads someone to going postal, like my character in the film, and getting a weapon? And you see in the film, which you haven't seen, which you will see with me in your house. Here. But in the film, my character goes, she had driven like crazy over to a friend's house looking for her husband, and he's done all this horrible stuff, and she's had one situational crisis after another, just back to back, and she hasn't gotten any mental support or any counseling or any help. And she shows up at this guy, and he's shooting, practicing his gun, like shooting his gun, and he's like, you want to take a shot or whatever. And she remembers, oh, I can go steal his gun, when she goes to do the act that when she's already gotten to the point of mental crisis, and it's already been exacerbated by all these situations. Talking about, if someone wants to do something, they'll find a way. She she takes, I'm not going to say exactly what happens, but she does something really not good, bad Catholic girl. And she gets that gun, and it was not in her name. She didn't go and buy that weapon. That weapon belonged to someone else who purchased it legally and probably was safe with it and shooting on his own property. And so, you know, I'm kind of coming back to the conversation we were just having, but it's what the decisions that you make and the point of crisis. You can look at the brain. The blood goes up the brainstem and back and washes over. It never hits the prefrontal cortex. And what we learn in neuroscience is, because I'm also a nerd.
Yeah.
I'm also a little bit of a nerd, but in the prefrontal cortex, in the middle of the prefrontal cortex is our insight, our intuition, our fear modulation, our body sensitivity, our understanding of empathy and compassion. Everything that makes us human is right here, and it's completely offline when we are experiencing anxiety, cortisol, and adrenaline coursing through our bodies. So this, you know, this conversation is, I'm only slightly passionate. This conversation is very near and dear to me because I've been someone that I didn't want to be in times of duress and crisis, and I couldn't stop myself. I'm thankful that I didn't do something atrocious like my character. But what's to say, like, who do we become? I feel like the film asks that question. Who do we become when everything in life hits the fan and we don't have the support?
You said something really, really interesting right there, is that you're really thankful that you didn't do something when you were on that line. And I think we've all been on that line a number of times. I know I have. And I've even a lot of the law enforcement officers I know, military people that I know, they're like, you know what? That far away. I was that far away. You're on that point, and what are you going to do? And a lot of it is, do you have that support, whether it's family or friends or a professional to talk to, or if anybody's even paying attention? And if they're not, and you're going to deal with it on your own, that may be how you deal with it. But I think people don't realize how fragile that is. I've seen a number of my friends get on that tipping point, be there, and fortunately not make that mistake and not make that wrong move. Been there myself. I'm glad you didn't go on the wrong way. But it's a very common thing. And I think people feel like I'm the only person who's ever felt this or has ever been dealing with this. And that's not the case.
Yeah.
So for anybody out there who is feeling that way, talk to someone, reach out, get the support, try not to take the drug. My feeling would be like, try not to take the drugs, but I've never had any of those situations happen to me where I've taken anything. So I don't even know how to respond to anybody if they ask, but like my son was young, they wanted to put him on ADHD stuff. And I was like, no, absolutely. If you put that in my son, one of us is going to jail.
Yeah. It's true. And I love that about you. About you. But it's true. We're poisoning our, especially in this country, we're poisoning our children and our country with food, with these, you know, these pharmaceuticals. There's this thing called the Mott Bailey truth. And it's really important for what's going on right now in the way that there just came out the big military complex big plan of censorship, the whole thing that just got exposed about 2018, that huge plan prior to COVID, prior to all this stuff happening. But they were talking about the way that censorship, you know, there was too much accessibility for everyone, and it was getting quote unquote dangerous from whoever the powers that be are. I don't know who they are, but they thought it was dangerous. These little humans can't know this much stuff. But what are the things that stop you from that? Not having full accessibility to your system in a whole state. And if you go to other countries, half of the things that are allowed by our FDA are not even remotely allowed, even in the country. You look at the ingredients on the box of, I was poor for a long time. I lived on Kraft mac and cheese, y'all. And it really was
tough. I mean,
really good. Really. But apparently there's 17 ingredients or something, and I can't pronounce any of them because they're not real words on the US box. But if you go to the UK, the same box in the UK has 3 ingredients. And it's enriched wheat. It's like, you know, 2 other things. And it's because they know these chemicals are not just poisoning the body and the mind are connected. When the body is dysregulated, it's going to send messages to the mind that make the mind go into crazy town. And the thing that I found interesting about and I will share that research project with you from the DOJ, but one of the things that they said was about 48%. This is a large number. 48%, almost half of those shootings. So what, 70 plus, no, even more than that. What is it? 85, 86 shootings. Almost 86 out of 172. The individuals had told someone that they wanted to do this, and nobody believed them. We need to take people seriously. If someone says they're going to like harm themselves, we 5150 them. We we call this in. But someone says they want to go shoot up a church, and they're like, it's so much for us that we shut it down. And this is something that actually is a big part of our social cohesion. We have to return to interconnectedness. The ripping apart, the divisiveness that's been going on, it's ripping at the fabric of who and what we are as human beings, and it's destroying our social cohesion. Social cohesion allows me to look at you and be like, Dean, oh, you look happy today. Maybe you come to set and it's, you got a call from your son and something's up, and I can see it on your face, and I check in, or hey, are you okay today? What's going on? And we have a conversation. That's social cohesion. We aren't doing that. We aren't doing that with each other. We are so plugged in, but so disconnected. And when things like mass shootings slip through because we're over here arguing about whether or not someone should have a gun or not have a gun, someone has a mental health crisis and we don't even notice, and they take a gun and go and do the thing that they go and do while we're just busy talking. That's what's lacking greatly. And it's our interconnectedness that's the loss of interconnectedness amongst us that's really of concern, in my opinion.
And you are, as I would say, quite a genius again. But you're dead on. But there's a couple things you said that are really important, and I don't want to miss them. One of them is if someone is having sort of a mental crisis like that, you're not telling others and going, hey, there's a real problem here. You're being compassionate. You're reaching out. As a parent, you feel like you can do anything for your kid. But, if there was something with my kid where I felt like I can't, because he's having a mental, if he was having a mental crisis and there's nothing I could do, I would have to reach out because I love him so much and I want him to be okay, and I can't get through. I can't make it happen. So you're not betraying. I wouldn't be betraying him. I would be helping him.
Yeah.
Dean, we can't hear you. What, can't hear me? Can you not hear me?
It cut out for a second, but it's back. It's back.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Perfect. So you're not betraying somebody by telling others that they're having a mental health crisis. And then you said something else that was also really, really smart, but I forgot what it was. Shoot.
Well, we're going to have to do another one of these so that we can touch on all the points.
Well, you're dead on with so much of what you're saying. There's no question about it. And it's clear you're not just a pretty face. You are a very pretty face, don't get me wrong, but your experience and your openness about talking about all these things and all this stuff, and even the fact that you go and you're leading these retreats over in Egypt and everywhere else, and the stuff that you do for the girls in, where is that you do that? Is that, where is it? Cambodia. I mean, of course, it's Cambodia and Egypt and everywhere else and all over the place. But bless you for doing that, and then for taking on a role like this. Oh, that's one of the things I was going to say, but it wasn't germane to what you had said. But is that people, the sort of the log line for this movie that I always think of is, what if you made a deal with the devil and then you decided you want to get out? And that is essentially what your character went through. Yep. which is a hell of a question when you think about it.
hanging there. But I also, the thing I was saying too, and I love that, because the thing that I took from it was also, we are that voice of the devil, and we are that voice of that higher power, that higher truth, right? We swing inside our, talk about pendulum swings in the mind. Oh, Lord Almighty, I wouldn't want you in my brain sometimes. Oh my. Wait, they're saying run for office, Dean, and I have to let you know, I would like to be a part of your campaign. I will be absolutely right there with you. Yes.
Well, if I did run for office, I would only do it out of altruistic reasons. I'd go in, I'd try to make really positive changes, and I would get out.
That's, we'll see. Okay, first of all, that's speaking to the Tao Te Ching, which is one of my favorite Chinese philosophers, is Lao Tzu, and he talks about a great leader will come in, do exactly what he's supposed to do, and then go into obscurity. And it's that's why we need leaders like that. We need leaders who don't want the power but feel a deeper calling to it. And you have the world loves you. You know, you have what some, I'm sure some of the individual, I would say, I would dare say every politician that's ever walked through the door, at one moment in their life, at one moment, they really thought, I can make change. And then they got inside the doors, and they became a part of a machine that's bigger than them. And what happens when you're up for a re-election and everyone around you saying, well, you can't say that, and you can't do this, and you're going to lose the thing if you don't do, and all of a sudden you feel all those feelings from childhood of not being good enough, and you change who and what you are piece by piece, incrementally, until we think you're a talking head, and we all make fun of you like, oh, politicians. But who were they on day one? Probably someone who thought they were going to give themselves in service, in public service. And I think that unless you stay so true to your integrity, and that has to be born out of not being desirous of the power that is there for you to take. And it's nice when someone already has a little bit of his own power. So, you know, it can be something. So, like I said, the offer will always stand.
Deal. Done. I hope I never have to. I hope that other leaders jump in and I can just live my life the way I'm enjoying the heck out of it right now.
Yeah.
And not have to be out there taking those slings and arrows.
Well,
but
I will,
you know, when,
petition you on behalf of the arts, though, if you run. I'm like, how about
deal.
Already. We need films like this. I'm so grateful that I got to do this with you. I hope we get to do a film where I'm a little bit prettier.
I don't know if I can handle that. I don't know. If that was you at your worst, you're okay. You know, you always say that. There's always that saying, look, if someone can love me like this at this stage,
yeah,
or to think that I look beautiful in this stage, done. Well, if that's your worst, we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Hopefully you get at least partially my best at some point. But it was such a pleasure to work with you. I hope all of you guys check out Condition of Return. It's kind of streaming. I don't know exactly all the details, but you can follow the links and stuff.
There'll be all sorts of links.
Yes, the at Condition of Return on the actual Instagram official page will give you all the information to go check out the film. And Dean has to check out the film with me in a few weeks. So
right here.
Yes. At the pad.
At the pad. Beautiful. Well, thank you. I know you have to get to work, so I'll go away and hopefully I get to see you real soon. Hopefully you'll come see. Is your sister right here? Right?
Yeah, Lake Las Vegas.
But it's a good 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Doesn't matter. It's really close.
It's very close. Okay.
And I really enjoyed this with you. Thank you so very much.
Okay. To be continued.
You are a joy.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers to you. Oh, they even said where it was going. Apple, other places. All right, beautiful. Well, I appreciate everybody joining us and having that conversation. She's pretty wonderful. She really is. And she really went through a whole rough thing in the film. And obviously in life, she's been through tons of stuff. So cheers to you all. Thank you. I got to make sure I do this correctly. I got to save it somehow. I got to figure out how to do that. See if it comes up and somebody lets me know. But appreciate all you guys joining. That was kind of wonderful. Bless you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Great holidays. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And yeah, she is smart, isn't she, River? And that's To me, that's the most attractive thing in a person. Rachel, my one of my high school girlfriends. Look at that. Cheers to you all, and be well. Blessings. All right. And I guess I'm out. That's it. Cheers. How do I do that? There it is.